Hi there. You're listening to What's New Today, a kids and family podcast channel. This is your host Sangeeta from India. This is part 6 and the final part of our Harry Potter book review podcast series. In this episode, I'm joined by Manisha, who is a fun loving and a passionate educator. She prepared a bunch of book review worksheets for our primary and middle schoolers who joined us in this book review. And let's hear from them.
So, in the beginning, we asked how many of you have not watched the movie? How many of you have not watched the movie? I believe there are 3, Darsh, Naira and Dhruv. So, Darsh, Naira and Dhruv, I would like to ask you first. I want you all to describe how you imagine Harry.
How do I imagine Harry to be?
Doubt in looks or like in characteristics?
You can tell me both, not a problem.
Imagine Harry to be very thin. That's constantly mentioned in the books. He's very thin.
Let me ask Naira if she can describe or how she can imagine Hagrid.
He has giant beetle eyes, so his eyes are very big. He has a long beard, like it comes like till his neck, and then I expect him to be kind of fat.
Okay.
Kind of like the Motu in Motu Patlu, and he has to be very tall compared to Harry.
All right. Then yes, let Dhruv tell me something about how do you think Hermione might look, or how do you visualize her to be?
Somewhat short with brown straggly hair. She also has like a bit odd teeth, so she needs braces.
Now to the listeners who have watched the movie, I want you to tell me whatever they have described or whatever they have visualized that particular character to be. Is it matching to what you have seen in the movie? Devansh, why don't you?
Description is like perfectly correct.
Okay.
One more thing to be added in Harry's description is that he wears hand-me-down clothes.
Yes, I'd like to add a detail in Hermione's description that Hermione had quite a small face, and unlike Hermione having curly hair, according to the people who have not seen the movie, she actually has messy hair, and it's kind of a mix of straight and curly hair. And I'd like to tell about a funny incident related to the movie. So I had read the book quite a lot of time before actually discovering the movie. So before this podcast came, I had to search the whole internet just to find a file of the Harry Potter movie.
To watch it again, or to find the difference between the book and the movie?
To find the difference between the book and the movie, because I haven't seen any other part, only the first part of Harry Potter as a movie.
And can I add something about Harry?
Yes.
In the first book, in the starting, when it is told about his life, it is written that he has jet spiky hair. But when I watched the movie, I saw that his hair was like kind of flat, and as one person told that it came to his eyes.
Correct, covering the forehead. Okay.
In the book, they mentioned that Hagrid was 11, almost 12 foot tall. But in the movie, the tallest that the people in the movie made Hagrid was 8 foot by makeup and everything.
In the movie, Harry's eyes are actually blue, but in the book, they are actually green. So the actual story is that in the movies, the director and the producer wanted Harry's actor, Daniel something, I forgot his surname.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah. So they wanted Daniel to wear contact lenses, but then Daniel started having some kind of allergies. So then they had then instead of green in the movie, it's showing that he has like blue eyes.
So now Darsh, Naira and Dhruv, when you actually see the movie, don't forget to find these little differences and similarities between the book and the movie. Okay. Now, since somebody was able to give a very, very good, perfect detailing of how Hagrid looked without seeing the movie, I guess Naira had given us the detailing of how Hagrid looked. Do you feel that is one of the reasons why the illustrations are not there in the book, because maybe J.K. Rowling, the very famous author, might have thought that the description will make you, visualize so very strongly that illustrations might not required in the book.
I don't know, but I think the illustration should be in every book because it describes and it increases the power of visualization more. It will
They would not have really
not miss
brainstormed a lot.
anything.
Okay, none of the detailings would have been missed if there was illustration.
Let's also remember that J.K. Rowling did not actually have a lot of money before she actually published the books. Like, it was only after the publication of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone she became famous. So I don't think so she wouldn't have that much money for the illustrations.
Yes, the illustration might have made the book better, but J.K. Rowling did not publish an illustrated version of the book because she might not have time, because there are lots
Wait a second. I have a version of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone that actually has illustrations.
Listen, we are talking about the original one. This illustrated version came later.
The later one version also has is fan made and also has illustrations. It all has the same material inside it, but it is fan made, so it has illustrations.
Okay, so maybe the readers have both the option now, the one with the illustrations, if you really want to enjoy reading with the drawing and the characters, that actually how they look. And we also have a choice of reading the book without an illustrations, which were like originally written by J.K. Rowling.
So I would prefer the Harry Potter book without the illustration because that would make it better and it would make our imagination run wild. Because the descriptions that are given in the book itself are quite complex, so the people can already understand how the characters look, and people like me, like for example, my imagination is pretty weak. So the Harry Potter book did help me in making my imagination better.
I also wanted to add one tiny point of trivia over here. How many of you have read a book as fat as the Harry Potter and Philosopher's Stone? Think of any other book that is this fat, that has this many words, that also has illustrations. Have you come across any book like that? As fat as the Harry Potter, as many words as the Harry Potter, and has illustrations in every second page or every third page. Ever come across one? No, right?
There was an illustrated book, like every page there is an illustration.
Yeah. When you're a child, you are likely to have read something called a picture book, which has pictures on practically every page with a few words and few sentences written over there.
Yes.
When J.K. Rowling wrote the first book and sent it to a publisher, most publishers said that this book is not likely to sell at all. And they came up with 3 reasons. And I'm going to ask each one of you what you feel about it. Reason number 1, most children's books are only half as long as what she had written. And they said no child in this world would like to read a book this big. Do you all agree with their views?
No.
No.
Right?
No.
Yeah, they were so wrong. They thought the children have such low attention span. We can't give them such a big fat book. What are you thinking? The second reason many people felt was children would want simple stories. They don't want complex characters like Voldemort, who was creating Horcruxes, and then there was Albus Dumbledore with a backstory in his life, he and his brother, and he fighting with Grindelwald. This was just getting too complicated. Children don't like such complex stories. So that was another reason why many publishers said, nope, we don't want to publish your book. That's what they wrote to J.K. Rowling. Did you find the characters and their backstories very complex?
No, I did not.
Yes,
Absolutely not.
they were complex.
No, it was all simple to read.
No.
The publisher underestimated us kids.
And the last reason they said was, stories about boarding schools, they are so boring. The last time any child wanted to read about boarding schools was when Enid Blyton wrote books about children going to boarding schools. Whoever wants to read about kids going to boarding schools? What did you think about that reason?
That's really
bad.
Bro,
So quickly tell me, how many stars would you give Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone out of 5?
10 out of 5.
All five. All five.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
5,000 out of 5.
100 out of 5.
1,000.
Infinite out of 5.
Ma'am, infinite out of 5. It is just unimaginable how good the book is.
We'll wrap up this recording with one little story that I wanted to narrate to all of you. So, when J.K. Rowling wrote the first draft, almost all of those publishers wrote back to her saying, sorry, right? I don't think we're interested. You know, all those reasons that I just gave you a little while earlier, those were the reasons that they gave. But there was one man who worked, his name was Barry Cunningham, and he worked for a publisher called Bloomsbury. He took those 3 chapters that he had got from some children's author and he went back home. He had an 8-year-old daughter sitting at home, so he gave her these 3 chapters. So that his daughter took it and she sat and she read the full, she wrote those 3 chapters in one go, and she came to her father and she said, tell me, where is the rest of the story? I want to read it. And so when Barry saw that here was his daughter who really loved what was going on in the story, he felt this story might have some potential. So he was the only publisher who wrote back to J.K. Rowling saying, could you please send me the rest of the story? I'd like to read it and see if there's potential for us to publish this book. So maybe if that 8-year-old daughter of Barry Cunningham had not liked the story, none of us would have known Ron, Hermione, Voldemort or Harry. And this conversation that we're all in the middle of would never have happened. Now here's a question for all of our listeners. Who is your most favorite character from the book series? Mine would not be 1, it would be 2, Fred and George Weasley. Tell me, who's yours? If you're listening to this on YouTube or Spotify, you can leave your response via comments below, or you can email me at hello@wsnt.in. And with that, we come to the end of this Harry Potter book review series. Thanks to all the kids who read the books, filled in the book review worksheets with such joy and joined us in this podcast. Thank you so much, Manisha, for putting together those very interesting worksheets. And as ever, if any of our young listeners would like to be a part of our book review club, you can register using the link I'm leaving in the show notes below. Thank you, have a great day, and that's Mischief Managed.